You guys might have to excuse me. I don't know if my connection is going to be working. We've been kind of having a storm. But give me a few seconds. I'm gonna do something real quick. Let me see. Checking to see if this is working right. Hold on. All right, so it sounds all right. So just give me 1 second real quick. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Just give me about 1 minute. 1 minute. All right, I had to send this notification out. Wait for some people to join. Not, I don't wait for people to join, but today I'm going to be going into the book of Proverbs. Hold on, I'll turn this down. I don't like hearing myself talk while I'm talking, but going into the book of Proverbs, because again, this is one of my favorite books to read. Next to Revelation and all the other books, but by far this one is one of my favorites. So book of Proverbs, I call this the book of instruction and reproof, and it was written by Solomon, right? So let me share my screen. We're gonna go get into this. Let me see, because this sound like my thing is lagging. Hold on. Probably should wear some headphones when I turn my phone on so there ain't no echo, but well, it sound fine though, but I get right into it. So I'm gonna share my screen here. And usually around this time, people are working, so I don't really expect anybody to be here right now. But, people will view later. So, book of Proverbs, right? As we see, written by Solomon, or, yeah. So, we're going to probably go through, I would say we're going to go through about probably like 10 to 12 chapters. And I'm watching my connection bars. It's up and down. So hopefully this isn't too choppy. But we're going to start off here. Proverbs 1, the proverb of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. To give stability to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning. And, the only reason why I'm reading this is because I see a lot that, first off, no one hears. Let me see, because I'm looking at my connection bar and something's going on. I hope this is going through. Let me see. Yeah, because this reception bar on my side is it's kind of iffy. It's going up and down. But anyway, a wise man will hear and increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, because we know that there's no gray areas in the Bible, you know, it's only gray areas when we leave things out. The words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head and chains about thy neck. This kind of reminds me of, you know, basically Deuteronomy says the same thing, right? When he's talking about, binding the, binding the, well, when you read the, people are going to think I'm just, talking about the law, but, that's what the Most High said, right? He said, write the laws upon your, what is it, frontlets of your eyes and stuff like that. But we'll continue. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. And this is talking about basically, this is giving reference to like, people that, when it says lay wait privily, right? It's kind of like what we see today when, people go out and, rob people and all that stuff. Anyway, my son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. Let me just go down real quick. For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. This is also another thing that we face today. I mean, everything that you can read in the Bible, you basically see happening today, right? But he says refrain from doing these things, right? Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird, and they lay wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the way everyone that is greedy of gain, which take away life of the owners thereof. Wisdom crieth out. She uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief places of concourse, in the openings of the gate. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, how long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Right. You guys gotta excuse me. So we understand that, as like I got in my title and in my description about this video, this is the book of instruction and reproof, right? This is why I got that title, right? Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you, because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. Kind of like also what's going on today. The Most High has his hand stretched out over, over this entire world. Just look around. As I look around, there's floods, famines, all this stuff, right? Stuff that, the Most High said he was going to bring, due to, wickedness being rampant in the earth. This is why this is the book of instruction and reproof. And for you guys, let me just see something. I'm going to go to Hebrew concordance real quick, so you guys will get a clear understanding of what reproof is. We're just going to type that word in real quick. So this is the word for reproof, and we're reading this in Proverbs. It's the, this is the word reproof in Proverbs, and as you see, there's another word here for reproof is H1606. That is not in what we're reading here. That's in Job. That word for reproof in Job. What we're going to go for is the word reproof in Proverbs. So it is H8433. And it is Tokia, right? Tokia. Let's listen to it.
Strong's H8433. Tochecha. Tochecha. And second entry, Tochacheth.
All right. So I probably pronounced that wrong. So rebuke, correction, reproof, punishment, chastisement. We know that the Most High said, he chastises those that he loves. Argument, reproof, argument, impeachment, reproof, chiding, correction, rebuke, right? So that's the word for reproof in this context here. What this is talking about, right? And as you read further in these Proverbs, that's all you're going to hear is rebuke and instruction. So let's see here. Where am I at? Oh, here it is. Because I have called and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock you when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind, when distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me. And this is what, what's going on right now. We see this being happening all around the world, right? Now everyone, basically everyone, I would say, not everyone, but some are calling on him. But I will not answer. They shall seek me early, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. This is another thing here. Not a lot of people that I run into.
Your Storm Track 12 Weather Authority update.
Sorry about that. That's my storm tracker. I probably might check that in a minute because we're supposed to have these storms coming in, but a lot of people don't fear, the Most High. And again, I want to get into this word here in the Old Testament, right? Because people see this word Lord and they think automatically that, this is Christ, but, I'm going to show you that this is the Father. He's also called, right? What is this? I'm going to just put in Proverbs. I'm going to go to this line here. Okay, Proverbs 129. Okay, just want to show you so that we can have a better understanding of who this is, who Solomon is referring to. All right, let me try to get this again. So you'll notice that like I said before, my connection is, kind of iffy. All right, here we go. So it is H3068. And this one right here, as you see, the reason why I call, the Father his name and the Son his Hebrew name, but I also say that, say the name we know today. But this one ties back to the Father right? So it is this. Jehovah or Yahuwah, right? And they put Lord here 6,510 times. Instead of putting his name, they put this title, okay? The self-existent or eternal, and they say it's the Jewish national name of God. And when you go down here, again, H3050, H3069, these are the names that are used. Yah, right? That's why I call him Yah all the time. And why'd it go all the way down? All right. H3069, right? And it goes back to this one. So they talk about this, right? 304 times they put this title here, right? And for this one, and I'm gonna go into I'm gonna do a study on the book of Romans from chapter 1 going straight through. So again, 48 times, right? Let's go back here. So you know who he's talking to. This is just talking about the Father here. This is the Father that he's talking about. They would none of my counsel. They despise all my reproof. They despise his rebuke, right? Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way. And this is, this is also mentioned in another passage. I forget which one it is. And be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. So this is telling us, if you listen to him, listen to what he say, do the things he said do. And no, I'm not talking about going and sacrificing idols and all that stuff. I mean, sacrificing animals to idols. And again, there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be clearing up. And it's all going to be in the scriptures, okay? And notice that I don't come, with my own doctrine. I just read this for what it is and give the explanation as I go on and put in little scenarios so it'd be better to understand this stuff, right? Because a lot of people act like they don't have understanding. So it says here, my son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart to understanding, yet if thou criest after knowledge and lifteth up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest, her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord, fear of the Father, and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord giveth wisdom. I'm just reading this as it is. They put this title here all the time, but I'm just going to read it. You guys should know that this is the Father he's referring to here. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. This is why Christ said, man shall not live off bread alone, but off every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Father. So, that's in Matthew 4, right? When Satan took him up. When Satan told him, if thou be the Son of God, remember, the Son of God, If thou be the Son of God, I command this stone to become bread. And he told Satan, it is written that no man shall live off bread alone, but off the word of off every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Father. And he also referred to himself as the bread of life, right? So just giving some explanation and clarity on some stuff, right? So we can understand what we're, reading. It's not really hard to understand, right? He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. Now let's look at this word for uprightly. Find this very fascinating, right? What does it mean to walk uprightly? Okay, so this is Proverbs 2, verse 7. Okay. This is why I want to go into the words that was used. Proverbs 2, 7. So people could know exactly what this means, right? And it's very, very simple to understand here. So uprightly, Hebrew 85:37. Let's hit this word here. Tone, right? And it says integrity, completeness, completeness, fullness, innocence, simplicity. All this stuff is simple, right? Perfection, simplicity, uprightly, uprightness, at a venture. And it says, see, Hebrew 85:50. And then it goes down here and it gives you, again, all this to where you could go and look at what all this means. And it gives you the whole thing, right? Completeness and integrity. And it refers to all this, right? Proverbs, Psalm, what else? Exodus, tells you what is being used for in there, right? So this is all, it's basically the same thing. Completeness and integrity, right? Walk in integrity. Walk uprightly, right? He keepeth the paths of judgment and preserve the way of his saints. Then thou shalt understand righteousness. Again, let's look at this word for righteousness. I might just leave this Hebrew concordance up so I don't have to keep bringing it up. So what does it mean to be righteous? Thou shalt, then shalt thou understand righteousness, right? So let's go here. This is Proverb 2, verse 9. All right. Proverbs 2:9. Righteous. Hebrew word 6664. And it is sadek. Right? Justice, righteousness, justice, rightness, righteousness. What is right or just or normal? Righteous, rightness, justness, of weights and measures. Righteousness and government, we understand that our government is not not righteous. Of judges, rulers, kings. Let's look at this word of law, right? Of law here. And it says of Davidic king Messiah, right? We know he was righteous, right? Of Jerusalem as seat of just government, of God's attribute, righteousness, justice in case or cause, rightness in speech, righteousness as ethical right. And then it goes on and it says, righteousness as vindicated, justification in controversy, deliverance, victory, prosperity, of God as covenant keeping in redemption. In name of Messianic king, of people enjoying salvation, of Cyrus. Let's put that back a little bit so we go to the beginning, because we're going to be looking at most of these words here. So then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, very good, every good path. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh froward things. So look at that word for froward, so you guys can see what this stuff means. I already looked at most of this stuff, but just for you guys, we're going to go where's Proverb, and right here. This is the one we're reading. Let's see. Froward things. And then froward. So froward things is this. Excuse me. Tapuka, right? Frowardness, froward. Perversity, perverse things. Perversity or fraud, right? And it goes into all the words and the places being used there. So let's go back. So, froward things, who leave the path of uprightness. You know, people that speak froward things, as it says here, they leave the path of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice to do evil and delight in the frowardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked, and they that is like, I don't know, it just doesn't sound right how they worded this. Whose ways are crooked, and they froward in their paths. I believe it should have been they are froward in their paths, but they just put they froward, right? It just doesn't sound right. But anyway, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth with her words, which forsake the guide of her youth, and forgetteth the covenant of her God. For her house inclineth unto death. We understand that. Well, as the scriptures say, the wages of sin is death, right? Wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. You know, we know that verse, but for her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto the dead. None that go unto her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life. Right. I remember reading where Moses, was telling the children of Israel, I've set before thee life and death, and all that stuff. All that stuff. And then he says, therefore choose life, right? We know that the wages of sin is death. So what's the opposite of that? Just something for people to think about. That thou mayest walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of the righteous. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. And this also talks about when Christ said, Yehoshua said, every plant that my heavenly Father have not planted will be uprooted. Okay, he didn't plant wickedness in the world. And it says here, my son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add unto thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart. And this is also explaining that, well, given that new covenant in Hebrews chapter 8, the very last two verses, right? When he said he was gonna write his laws in their minds and upon their hearts, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, let not mercy and truth forsake thee. All right, I read that already. So thou shalt find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not. This is something I see few people doing. And lean not unto thy own understanding. Okay, the understanding comes from, the words written in his book. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. Okay. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance and the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. This is why, again, the book of instruction and reproof, rebuke, right? So let's continue here. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, right? Even as a father, the son, in whom he delighteth. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. So we understand that wisdom and understanding is better than what we would call material things, right? A lot of people seek after material things and don't seek after wisdom nor understanding, right? She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are always of pleasantness, and her paths are peace. All her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retaineth her. Talking about wisdom. See, the Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding he hath established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yeah, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. And I think this is talking about this sleep here isn't talking about like going to sleep. I think this is talking about the death part, sleep, right? Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is the power of thine hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give thee, when thou hast it by thee. Devise not evil against thy neighbor. This is something that, this right here is something that I see going on a lot, right? Seeing he dwells securely by thee, strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. So you're not supposed to hate the oppressor, and you're also not supposed to choose his ways, right? For the froward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. And here we understand what the curse is. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. So anybody that's lifting themselves up above other people or anything like that, I don't see how they're receiving this if they're not acting lowly, right? Again, the wise shall inherit glory. The wise, just like Daniel said. Good morning, D-Tech. So the wise shall inherit glory, just like when Daniel said, what is that? Daniel chapter 12, I believe it's verse 3, right? Let's go there real quick, right? Because this is what Daniel talked about as well. Daniel 12. The wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, right? 12 verse 3. Here it is. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So anybody that's turning people to righteousness, living an upright life, that's what he's talking about here. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the portion, promotion of fools, right? And that's also what Daniel mentioned in that other verse, Daniel 12. Let's go back there. Daniel 12 mentions this. This is Daniel is talking about the last days right here. Right here, verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life. This is talking about the resurrection. Revelation 20, first resurrection, some to everlasting life. Second resurrection, some to shame and everlasting contempt, right? We get that clear understanding there, right? And then it goes on to say, those that be wise shall shine as brightness of the firmament. Okay. So we're going to go through about, we're going to go through seven or eight more of these. I want to at least trying to get 10 chapters in here. And oops, is this 4 that I'm on right now? Or did I go? Oh yeah, I just did 3. All right. So, excuse me. So this is why I, read whole chapters. You go through all these chapters and then you start to understand better what is being said. And this is why I'm going to Romans. I'm going to do Romans, read most of that. Let me see how many chapters is Romans. I think Romans is about 16. Yeah, about 16 chapters. I probably might do it live on that. We're going to read that whole thing in context, right? From chapter 1, right? Because I found it very fascinating when I looked at the word that Paul used for law there, and it refers back as actually. Let me just do that as a spoiler. Let's go here because I found that fascinating, right? Found this very fascinating. Romans 2. I'm just going to divert a little bit just so I could show you guys what I'm going to be doing next time. Because I keep hearing that, Actually, yeah, we'll do this one. look at the word for law in this one, and then we're going to look at the word for law in Romans 6, right? And I also found it very fascinating that I never hear anybody read in Romans 6 when you go to the middle of that chapter, right? So let's find this word for law here and here. This is why I go into these words so I can understand what I'm reading. And then I go into the words while I'm reading to you guys so you guys can understand why I believe what I believe. You know, that we must be obedient, you know. So let's see, where is that word here? So you'll see that there is two words used here for law. And you see that in verse 12, Romans 2:12, Romans 2:13. For this word here is G460. And then you see this other one, G3551. Let's look at this one. G460, the Greek word, anomos or nomos, right? You'll see something very, very fascinating here. Because in this time period, people keep saying that, people keep saying that the Mosaic law isn't even brought up in the New Testament. And I found this very fascinating. Without the law, without the knowledge of the law, to sin in ignorance of the Mosaic law, live ignorant of law and discipline. I just found that very fascinating that when Paul talked about this, he was referring to who everybody got beef with, Moses, right? Even Christ said, you know, in John 5, right? And this word, anomacy or whatever, it means lawlessly, i.e., specially not amendable to the Jewish law, without law. And then you see down here, it says here, without the law, without a knowledge of the law, to sin in ignorance of the Mosaic law, used in Romans 2, verse 12. I don't see anybody bringing that part up. Now, this is what I'm, saying. That's why I say I don't think that the law was done away with, because Christ even said that the law isn't done away with, right? He didn't say that. He said, I came not to destroy the law or the prophets. And then people use that word. They take that word fulfill and say, see, he did it all and it's gone now. But that contradicts what he said in the beginning when he said, I have come not to destroy the law or the prophets. He came to fulfill it so that he can show you how to walk in it, right? That's what he did. And it also says right here, for as many as have sinned without law, we just went into that, without the Mosaic law. And I'm not saying that all the law, because you got law for women, you got laws for rulers, you got laws for farmers, you got laws for bankers, you got laws for everyday living citizens, right? Just like on earth, we have governmental laws, not to break those or you go to jail. Well, same thing here. If everything came from the Most High, if he gave the laws back then, and we get most of those laws out of the Bible, like if you murder, you go and spend some time in jail, right? Either 25 years or depending on the severity of it, right? Now, I'm not saying that, go out and sacrifice animals. I'm not saying that. Go in and do the animal sacrifices, because we understand that Christ was the sacrifice for all sin, But that don't mean that everything was done away with. That don't mean that all his rules and instructions are gone. But people teach that. And then they wonder why the world is running amok, right? Running amok till this day. So this is what Paul is saying. Everybody loves Paul. I hear Paul come up all the time. So without law is G460. And as many as have sinned in the law, again, refers back to the Mosaic law. I mean, how does anybody get around this, right? How does anybody get around this? How do you explain this away? And it's nomos, right? We all know this word. Anybody that studies Greek should know this word. It is used one time, 197 times. It uses this word law, okay? And it says anything established, anything received by usage, a custom, a law, a command of any law whatsoever. That means the law of the Father and the law of his Son, right? A law or rule producing a state approved of God by the observance of which is approved of God. A precept or injunction, the rule of action prescribed by reason. And then it says here, again, a lot of people got beef with this guy here, of the Mosaic law, and referring account to the context, either to the volume of the law or to its contents. And then they say here, the Christian religion, the law demanding faith, the moral instruction given by Christ, the precept concerning love. Okay, all this, even the Father said in the beginning, before his Son came to earth, that love, all that stuff in the Old Testament deals with love as well. The name of the more important part, the Pentateuch, is put for the entire collection of the sacred books of the Old Testament. So I just found that very fascinating when I went to that word. But again, that's going to be in my Romans study. Oh, one more thing. Let me go into Romans 6 and show part of what that is going to be about. This is one thing I see that no one ever brings up when dealing with Paul. When he says, what shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? And then I ask people to define sin, right? Sin, according to John, is transgression of the law, right? And then you go all the way down here, because a lot of people like to cut off part of the chapter. And it says this right here, verse 15. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under the law, but under grace? God forbid. Again, what is sin? Shall we break the law because we are not under the law, right? Because that's what sin is. Let's get that in the Hebrew concordance as well, right? Because again, I'm all about truth according to what scriptures say, not according to what man teaching their own doctrine, right? Let's get this word for sin, because this is very, very easy to understand. I don't think the Most High changes, and you can't change him, right? So let's go down to this context in Romans, see what sin is according to what Paul was talking about. Then people will say, oh, you're Judaizing. Oh, well, Paul must have been Judaizing here then, huh? I guess Paul must have been doing it. And people run to that, I feel people run to that because they love being willfully disobedient, right? Why? I don't get it. If this is what it say, this is what it say, okay? As soon as this loads here, let me check here. Check this real quick. Let's see if this loads. Refresh. All right, here we go. So Romans, let's go into Romans. And we are in Romans 4, verse 8. Let's see here. Am I on that? Oh, Romans 4. Let's just look at this. What is sin in Romans 4? Greek 266. Let's look at this word. Right? Hamartia, right? And it says sin, sinfulness, right? Again, you'll see that this is the violation of God's law. That's what sin is. The Father's law, right? To be without a share in, people would agree that this means to miss the mark, right? To err, be mistaken, to miss or wander from the path of uprightness and honor, to do or go wrong, to wander from the law of God, violate God's law, sin. That which is done wrong, sin, an offense, a violation of the divine law in thought or in act, right? And then it tells you down here where it's being used and how it's being used, right? In Romans, a sinning, right? And it says Romans 6, where we were reading from and all that, right? 6, Romans 6:6, Romans 6:11, right? So again, that's going to be in my Romans study. Just wanted to bring that out as a spoiler alert. Now it says, hear ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to knowledge, to know understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also and said to me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. Again, says, keep my commandments and live. This same thing Moses told the children of Israel. Therefore, choose for yourself life that you may live, right? Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding, right? Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou doest embrace her. She shall give to thine head an ornament of grace, right? Excuse me. A crown of glory she shall deliver thee. Shall she deliver thee? Excuse me. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened. And when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a froward mouth, right? This word froward means, again, this is Proverb 4:24. Let's go to the Hebrew Concordance again and see what he's talking about here. Proverb 4:26, I believe. Is that right? 24. Okay. Let me see. Let me check. Okay, yeah, 24. 4:24. Okay. See what this word froward is here, because sometimes the word is used differently and it'll have a different meaning to it, right? And some words mean exactly what they mean. So says here, put away from thee a froward mouth, right? The other word for froward wasn't this. This one is 6143. Hebrew word 6143. Let's see what this word is. I don't know how to pronounce this one, so let's listen.
Strong's H 6143. Ikeshuth.
All right.
Ikeshuth.
Ikeshuth, right? And it means froward 2 times. Distortion or crookedness. Perversity, froward. And then it's telling you where it's used. It's only used in Proverbs, right? That's what froward means. Distortion or crookedness, right? Put away from thee a froward mouth, a crooked mouth, or a distorted mouth, right? And perverse lips put far from thee. So let's look at what the word for is for perverse, right? Right? I probably might need to get me some water in a minute. Give me a second. I'm going to see how long I could go on. So perverse, Hebrew word 3891, perverse. Lezuf, right? Deviation, perversity, crookedness, still the same word. Deviation, crookedness. This is why I go into the word so you guys can know what it means and what he's saying here. Put away from thee a froward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Okay. Now let's go and get this next chapter. Because again, it's not that hard. This is going to be about 2 hours. Hopefully it's not that long, but with me going into the words, it might stretch out a little bit longer. Give me a second, and I'm about to go grab me some water real quick. Just give me 1 minute. All right, I'm back. Had to give me some water. My throat was getting dry. All right. So Proverbs 5, and by far this is probably out of all the not all the Proverbs, but in the book of Proverbs, this is one of my favorite chapters, and you'll see why. So it says, my son, attend unto my wisdom and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion and that thy lips may keep knowledge. Excuse me. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil, but her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take her steps take hold on hell. Excuse me. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life, her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way from far from her, and come not nigh the door of her house. I believe they should have put nigh to the door of her house, but again, it just doesn't sound right when you read it. But you know what it's saying. Lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel, lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors be in the house of a stranger, and thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed. So this is talking about what is this giving? This also giving reference to what is that? Malachi 4. Yeah. When the earth is burned and few men are left. That prophecy for the last days, which will be which I'm gonna try and do a study on some of these smaller books, these books that got fewer chapters. I'm gonna start doing some on those, because again, this probably going through all this stuff and reading all these books chapter for chapter, this will be probably my 6th time reading the entire book, and I want to get it documented, right? I want to get it documented. I want to go through this whole book, at least have this whole book on my channel, going into the words and all that stuff. Excuse me. Okay. And say, how have I hated how have I hated instruction, and my heart despiseth reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor incline my ear to them that instruct me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Again, this is talking about basically, the instruction and all that stuff that the Most High gave, right? Let her be as the loving hen and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, or the Most High, and he pondereth all his doings. So the Most High, like he said before, he knows everything that people are doing. He knows every person's thoughts. He knows everybody's intentions. And he knows why, why people do the things they do. It's us that don't understand, right? We don't understand. That's why he said the heart is desperately wicked. How and who may know it. I think that's in here. Probably in one of the chapters I'm going to be reading. I know it's in the book of Proverbs, though. His own iniquities. Let's go in here. This is Proverbs 5:22. Let's get the word for iniquities, because we also hear this brought up in the New Testament, dealing when the man of sin is about to come, right? Also when Christ said, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. So when wickedness abounds, and that's what iniquity is, wickedness, when wickedness abounds, the love of many will wax cold. And that's what's going on daily. If you don't see it, then I don't know what to tell you, but I see it all the time. All right, 22, I'm right on it. So we're going to go to this word for iniquities. And this word iniquity in the Hebrew and in the Greek means lawlessness, wickedness, stuff like that. So it's Hebrew 5771. So let's see. Avon, right? And also it says here, sin, iniquity, punishment, fault, iniquities with Hebrew 1697, mischief, sin, perversity, depravity, iniquity, guilt or punishment of iniquity, iniquity, guilt of iniquity, guilt as great, guilt as guilt of condition, consequence or punishment for iniquity. And it says here, fault, iniquity, mischief, punishment, sin. So this can also be another word defining sin. It's very important that we understand what sin is so we know not to commit it, right? Or to practice it. That's what the word means, to commit. Practice it. His own iniquity shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly, he shall go astray. So many people go astray when they don't want to adhere to instruction. And when they continue in their folly, they go astray. Right? We'll see this brought up. Proverbs 6 is also another favorite chapter of mine, dealing with the sluggard when he's telling them. Now, we know that when the Most High created everything has a purpose. Everything has an instruction that it follows. This is why he says, well, I'm going to read it. You'll see what I'm talking about. We know he created ants, right? He created everything. So we know he created ants. Excuse me, let me take a sip of water. So says here, my son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thine hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. And then it says here, this is what I was talking about when he's saying, consider the ways of the ant. He calls him a sluggard. Let's look at this word for sluggard, right? For those that don't know what that means. Proverbs 6, verse 6. All right, 6:6. So this word for sluggard is Hebrew 61:02, right? It's the word for sluggard. See what a sluggard is. Asel, right?
H 6102. Otsale. Otsale.
And it says slothful, sluggard, sluggish, lazy, sluggard. And it says indolent, slothful, to be lazy. And it's only used in Proverb. All right, let's go back one more. Go back here. Excuse me, I got a burp. All right, so it says here, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer and giveth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teacheth with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. Now we understand when we read further in Proverbs, he says, 6 things doeth the Lord hate. Yeah, and 7 are an abomination unto him, right? And then you get this list here. So it says this, therefore shall his calamity come suddenly, shall he be broken without remedy. Here it is right here, what I just brought up. 6 things doeth the Lord hate, yes, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift into running into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. Now let's look at what this word discord means, right? I know what it means, but just showing you guys what it means so you can better understand what sowing discord is. 6:19. And I see this happening a lot. So this word for discord, come on, blow. All right. Discord, Hebrew 4090, Hebrew word 4090. And it says, Medan, right?
Strong's H 4090. Medan. Medan.
And it says discord, strife. One who soweth strife among brethren, contention. And it is only used in Proverbs. So, Proverbs 6. This is an abomination to him. My son, you're going to hear this word over and over in Proverbs. This is instruction. My son, keep thy father's commandment and forsake not the law of thy mother. We read this in a few chapters ago. He's just basically repeating himself over and over, telling him the same thing. It's not going to change. Like it says, you know, Bind them continually upon thine heart and tie them about thy neck. We read this, I think, in verse 2 or 3. It was one of those, chapter 2 or 3. This is why I go through chapters, the whole chapter, because it says the same thing. It doesn't change. People just change it to justify what they do or justify what someone else is doing. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. When thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. And reproofs, they call it the book of reproof and instruction. And reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. And it says here, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes be not burned? Can one upon hot coals and his feet be not burned? So he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, committing adultery, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. And this is, this is what's going on today. And you see all these people running into these stores. Excuse me, guys. I see something in the chat. Let me do something real quick. There we go. There we go. All right. Now that we handled that problem, because I keep seeing that popping up in different lives, right? So whenever you guys see that, just get rid of that, because I think it's somebody trying to be a hacker. And it's very, very fascinating that I only see this happening on people's lives that speak about the Bible. And I wonder why that is. But anyway. All right, here we are. 31. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. That means you steal something, you're supposed to give back sevenfold, right? Excuse me. He shall give all substance. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth destroyeth his own soul. We understand that in the let's go here. Let's go to what people say are done away with. This is what people say are done away with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Commandment number 6, you shall not commit adultery. So we understand that. Less, it's okay to do this stuff now. But anyway, a wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. We understand that we understand what the day of vengeance is. That is when judgment happens, right? We see that in many scriptures. Let's just bring that up real quick. Let me see how many scriptures the day of vengeance is mentioned. We know it's also in, what is that? Joel. Day of vengeance. Isaiah 63:4 talks about it. Luke 21:22 talks about it. Let's see here. What does God say about vengeance in the Bible? That's not it. Day of vengeance. Let's go through these. Right. Proverbs 6, we're reading that now. Proverbs 11, riches help not in the day of vengeance, but righteousness delivereth from death. This also goes into when he says that many trust in their riches. You know, people trust in their wealth. No thanks. All right. For Yehovah, or if you want to use this, it was no J's in the Hebrew, but you know, that's why I call him Yahuwah or Yehovah. For Yehovah hath a day of vengeance, a year of recompense for the cause of Zion. Isaiah 61, verse 2. Proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. Isaiah 63, 4. For the day of vengeance is in thine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. So we understand that this is when he comes back to the earth, the day of vengeance. Jeremiah 46:10. For this is the day of the Lord God of hosts, a day of vengeance, that he may avenge him of his adversaries, and the sword shall devour, and it shall be Saturday, excuse me, and made drunk with their blood. For the Lord God of hosts hath a sacrifice in the north country by the river Euphrates. Excuse me. And it says here, but Romans 2:5. But thou, after thine hard heart that cannot repent, heapest thee together the treasure of wrath against the day of vengeance, when shall be open the righteous judgment of God. So we understand that the day of vengeance is when he comes to judge the world, right? And, you know, it's mentioned over and over. So just to let you guys know that. So he will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. So that's not going to save you. That's what that's saying. Proverbs 7. Again, I said this over and over because you're going to keep hearing this. Lay up my commandments with thee. You're going to hear this over and over in the book of Proverbs because it's an instruction. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live. He's going to keep saying that over and over. He told Moses that. He told the children of Israel that. He even told the apostles that, right? It doesn't change. Christ didn't come to speak against what his Father sent him to do, right? And my law is the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers, write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman. We're going to hear this over and over. From the stranger which flattereth with her words. We're told over and over about basically whoremongering or fornication, right? It's what fornication is. To whoremonger or go a whoring after other gods. And it also mentions a cult prostitute. So that's what, according to the people that translated it, that's what it means. If you could find it where it says anything different according to the translators, so be it. But I haven't. And I go through all the words. that they may keep. Okay, I read that. For at the window of mine house I looked through my casement. I don't know if that's supposed to be casement, but you know. And let me see here. All right. And behold, among the simple ones, I discern among the youths, a young man void of understanding, passing through the street near her corner, and he went the way to her house. In the twilight, in the evening, in the black and dark night. Now, we all have an understanding of what he's talking about here. Okay. All you got to do is look, because this is bringing up a harlot. Let's see what a harlot is in this verse here. And behold, there meet him a woman with the attire of an harlot and subtle of heart. Let's see, Proverbs 7, verse 10. Proverbs 7, 10. Look at what this word, harlot, right? Hebrew 21:81. And it says zana, right? And this is fornication. This is the word for fornication. Zana, right? It's the same word. To commit fornication, be a harlot, play the harlot. To be a harlot, act as a harlot, commit fornication. To commit adultery, to be a cult prostitute, to be unfaithful to God, figurative. To play the harlot, to cause to commit adultery, to force into prostitution, to commit fornication. That's what that means. Okay. It's the same word when you go into fornication, it is zana, right? She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. And you, I mean, look around. He's talking about everything that's going on, and it's always been going on. Even since back then, or else he wouldn't have been bringing this up to them. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day have I paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and have found thee. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with carved works of with fine linen of Egypt. So this was going on back in their time. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. For the good man is not at home. He is gone a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him, and will come home at the day appointed. With her much fair speech she caused him to yield. With the flattering of her lips she forced him. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to take correction of the stocks. Excuse me, I need to drink some water. I'm gonna go to chapter 10. Excuse me. Till a dart striketh through his liver, as a bird hasteneth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. Hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart incline to her ways. Go not astray in her paths. For she hath cast down many wounded, yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. So let's go into chapter 8. And I'm going to do 2 more. I kind of want this to be a 2-hour live. And then I probably might pick up the rest tomorrow. Because this is like, I think Proverbs is about 29, I believe, 28 or 29 chapters. Actually, I think it's about a little bit more than that, but let me see here. Where is it? Oh, Proverbs. Oh, 31. Okay, it's 31 chapters. I probably might have to do a 3-part to this. I'm going to do 3 parts to this. So just had to look at that and make sure how many chapters was in there. I thought it was 28 or 30, but it's 31. All right. So do these last 2 chapters. Do not wisdom cry and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places, by the way in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. Right? Ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, right? And wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing froward or perverse in them. So we are into these words, froward and perverse. You guys should remember that. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. So he's telling you what he hates. Counsel is mine and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. Be me kings, by me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I led in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever the earth was. Oh, okay. So that, I mean, it's kind of confusing. Shalom, ya son. When there were no depths, I was brought forth. When there were no fountains abounding with water. And we understand that Solomon And, David talked about, how the Most High knew them before they were formed in their mother's womb. Sorry, I got to get rid of this one again, because I don't know what's going on with that. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was I brought forth, while as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set his compass upon the face of the depth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the fountains of the deep, when he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment, when he appointed the foundation of the earth. Then I was by him as one brought up with him, and I was daily I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him. I just don't like how some of this stuff is worded. It kind of just doesn't sound right sometimes. Kind of hard to read. Rejoicing in the habitable parts of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord, or the Most High, or Yah, whatever you want to call him. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his soul. All they that hate me love death. All right, so let's go into these last few parts here. And I'll read this because, again, it's about, how we should be conducting ourselves, right? Chapter 9. Then I'm going to do chapter 10. I'm going to get off here and go make me something to eat because I'm getting kind of hungry. All right, so wisdom had built her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beasts. She hath mingled her wine. She hath also furnished her table. She hath set forth her maidens. She crieth upon the high places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith unto him, Come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. Let me make sure they ain't coming in here posting these links anymore too. For the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. So we understand that this is saying the same thing through this whole book over and over. I haven't seen anything different or changed yet. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise thyself. But if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. Excuse me. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house on a seat in the high places of the city. This is also talking about, harlot again. to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither, and as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. So we understand that that is talking once again about a harlot, or, stuff like that. Because it said that in, what was that, chapter 6 or 7. So the more you read, the better understanding you get. And I will be doing that, that book of Romans soon. And for those that missed it, you could play this video back. I know some people are at work. Some people are going to be viewing this later. And I'm not really a late night kind of guy, kind of like get up early, do this early, because got a garden and stuff to take care of. So, and not only that, I got a lot of research to do, especially when I go into looking at why they took the book of Enoch out. And I might do that. Let me see. I'm gonna have to write a schedule later on today, because I want to get into that apocalypse of weeks. And it's very interesting that in the book of Enoch, when it talks about the apocalypse of weeks, dealing with the leading up to the last days and the return of the Messiah, what is going to be going on. And we are living in that apostate generation, where there are many deeds, and that is going to be explained. And it also ties in with the whole thing that we see in the Bible as well. But it gives us a better understanding of exactly what we should be watching for. That's why I read from those books as well. And I might do another study on Genesis 1 and going into the book of Esdras. And, Ezra, or who we know as Ezra, Hebrew name is Ezra, Greek name is Esdras, same person, right? Also, let me just do that. Because when I make a claim, I want to back it up. Is Ezra and Esdras the same? Let's see here. What does it say? The first book of Esdras, also called Greek Ezra, abbreviation First Esdras, apocryphal work that was included in the canon of the Septuagint, but is not part of any modern biblical canon. So why was it included in the Septuagint, the Greek version of the Hebrew Bible, but we don't have it in any canon, in modern biblical canon? It is called Greek Ezra by modern scholars to distinguish it from the Old Testament book of Ezra, right? So we understand that Esdras, just like Abram, his name was changed to Abraham. Jacob, his name was changed to Israel. So on and so forth. We get all these examples of how they had name change, right? And again, this is another thing, right? People think Abram and Abraham is two different people. Abraham. And they also think that Abraham wasn't, a Hebrew. So let's get that. Abraham was the first Hebrew patriarch, but we're going to get this out the Bible. Let's see here. We know Abram and Abraham is the same people, right? They're the same. Okay, so it's Genesis 14, verse 13. Genesis 14. And we know that the Hebrews are, well, Abraham was the Hebrew of the, he was a Hebrew himself, right? People say different. People act like before Solomon and all them, there was no Hebrews, right? Genesis 14, 13. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew. So he was a Hebrew. I've heard this mentioned over and over that he wasn't a Hebrew. People say this. Well, they need to read Genesis 14. Abraham was a Hebrew. Abram is Abraham. So let's see here. Let's do this. Again, I said Abram name was changed to Abraham, right? So that's the same person, right? Genesis 17 tells us this, right? Kind of don't like reading from that because I don't like the outline. So Abram name was changed to Abraham. You see here, Abram was 90 years old and 9, right? Then you go down here. Same thing he did with Jacob in Genesis 32. He changed his name. He says here, as for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name be anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. Again, people think that when they talk about Israel or the children of Israel, they make it seem like a piece of land is bearing children, when the children of Israel are the children of Jacob, right? Again, so people could get this edification and understanding of what is really talking about here. Genesis 32, right? Genesis 32, when Jacob was wrestling with the angel, right? We understand this story, right? If we read Genesis 32, Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. This is where we get the name or the moniker children of Israel. It's really the children of Jacob. When you go into Exodus chapter 1, very, very important to understand, right? Exodus chapter 1. Now, these are the names of the children of Israel. We understand Israel is Jacob, right? Now, these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob. So we see Israel and Jacob is intertwined, right? It's the same person here. Children of Israel is the children of Jacob. And we get these 12, right? Just to bring that stuff up. Because again, when I make a claim, I go into the Bible and prove it, right? So Esdras, there's nothing wrong with reading that. Okay, I don't care who said it's canon or not. If it belongs in the scripture, again, Ezra had prophecy and Enoch had prophecy, right? Revelation 22 again, before I continue and end this. For those that want to keep speaking against things that they know not, again, all the way down here, very ending of the book, says here, for I testify unto every man that heareth the words of the prophecy of this book. If any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And this is how people are taken out of the book of life. I would be very, very careful with doing this. If any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, and out of the holy city, and all from the things which are written in this book. So if I see anything that is prophecy and it coincides with this book, I'm going to read it, period. People make some of these claims and they don't even read the book for themselves. They listen to what other people say instead of saying, hey, I'm going to be like the Bereans, and I'm going to go and search these things to see whether they are true. That's what I do. So that's going to be a part of my Enoch study when I go into that, showing how what Enoch wrote and what Ezra wrote indeed ties in with what we have in our scriptures. And it gives us a better understanding. And that's why I think a lot of people don't want us reading those books. The proverb of Solomon, a wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. For the Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. He becometh poor that deal with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. And we understand, this is why I made this live, because again, this is how we should be conducting ourselves based off what scriptures say. That's where my foundation lies, and that's where everyone's foundation should lie. Excuse me, I got to take a sip of water, and I know once I do that, I'm going to have to burp, so I'm going to have to mute myself real quick so I'm not burping in the mic. Okay, now let's continue. And this is going to be the last thing I'll talk about, and I'm going to book these other lives. I'm going to try and see how I'm going to carry this about. I probably might finish up Proverbs. I'm going to do Proverbs. I'm going to do another segment of Proverbs, finishing this book out. And then I'm going to try and get into some of the stuff that I brought up today, tomorrow, and the next day, while it's going to be fresh in people's mind. And then we'll go back into this book of Proverbs and pick it up at chapter 11 till probably 21. I want to do at least 10 chapters. And then that should be 3 segments of Proverbs. So I'm going to rename this part 1, and we're going to do part 2 and part 3. And then I'm going to go into some of these other books, like Enoch, and then show how how it gives us a better explanation of what we should be looking for in the last days, because not everything is put in the Bible, right? I take, again, You guys could look at my Book of Enoch examinations. I did that a few months back. I would say almost a year ago, showing how Enoch has parts that we could better understand the Bible with. But for now, we're going to finish this out, and I'm gonna get off, and I'm gonna create this next live, going into the apocalypse of weeks and how we see that playing out now. And they also have a chart that I want to get into. So those are going to be my next live. So blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commandments. Again, I said this word commandments is mentioned all throughout the book of Proverbs. But a prating fool shall fall. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known. He that winketh with his eye causeth sorrow, but a prating fool shall fall. The mouth of a righteous man is a well of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. Hatred stirreth up strifes. So when people are, we understand that strife, is an abomination to the Most High. Hatred stirreth up strifes. Sowing discord is sowing strife. That's when people are pitting people against one another, right? But love covereth all sins. In the lips of him that hath understanding, wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. Wise men lay up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction. A rich man's wealth is a strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. The labor of the righteous tendeth to life. The fruit of the wicked is the fruit of the wicked to sin. And we just went over all this, right? And this also ties in with that parable that Christ spoke about. You will know a tree by his fruit, right? That's why, the fruit of the wicked to sin. He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction, but he that refuseth reproof erreth. He that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. We see this happening in our days now. I see it happening a lot. In the multitude of words, there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. The tongue of the just is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is little worth. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. The blessing of the Lord, or the Most High, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. Excuse me. But is as sport to a fool to do mischief. But a man of understanding hath wisdom. The fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. As the whirlwind passeth, so is the wicked no more, but the righteous is an everlasting foundation. As vinegar to the teeth, and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him. And boy, I tell you, every time I read Proverbs, I see most of this stuff going on. For the fear of the Lord prolongeth days, but the years of the wicked shall be shortened. Yikes. Excuse the noise in the background. I'm in the garage, so. The hope of the righteous shall be gladness, but the expectation of the wicked shall perish. The way of the Lord is strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. We understand that when the Most High said, or when his son said, let's get this in the New Testament, because it's the same as the Old, right? What is that? It's in Matthew. It's Matthew 5, I believe. Oops, I forgot to put a space there. Matthew 5. This is what Matthew 5 says, dealing with this here. Right here. Like I said before, I wouldn't want the Most High or his son, for that matter, to say this to me. Where is it? Boom, boom, boom. I don't think it's here. I think it is, but I could be wrong. It could be the next one, but we'll see. All right, it's not this one. It's the next one, I believe. I think it is. And is it in 6? I kind of get this kind of mixed up. Just want to show something. I wouldn't want the Messiah to say this to me. Hold on. And neither should anybody else. I think it is 7. Yeah, it is 7, I believe. Hold on. Give me a second. I want to make a point here. Yeah, it's 7. It is chapter 7. All right. So I wouldn't want, actually, when I find the verse, I'm going to go into the Hebrew concordance and show that word, what he's going to say. Yeah, here it is. And this is also bringing up what I was talking about in that previous verse here. The fruit, where is it? Right here. The fruit, right here. Verse 16. Labor of the righteous tendeth to life. The fruit of the wicked is the fruit of the wicked to sin. This parable of the tree bringing forth good fruit and stuff like that. But let's go into the Hebrew concordance when he says this in Matthew 7:22. All right, Matthew 7:22. I just want to make this point. Why the Old Testament says the same thing as the New. Matthew 7. I wouldn't want the Messiah to say this to me, and neither should anybody else. So let's go down here and look at this word for iniquity. Many will say to me in that day when he comes back, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name have done many wonderful works? And then will I profess to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. Greek letter 458. What is iniquity? And And it ties back to the same word that Paul was talking about. Transgression of the law. This is the same one when Paul gave reference to Romans 6. And for you guys that missed it, you can go back into this video. I went into that when I was saying I'm going to go into Romans and do those chapters in full. Excuse me. Because I find it very fascinating. People keep saying that the Mosaic law, and I'm not talking about the sacrifices and stuff, but the Mosaic law is not mentioned in the New Testament, that it's done away with. Let's see here. The condition of without law, because ignorant of it, because of violating it, contempt or violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. And again, where is that at? In Romans, right? This is the one that I read earlier, Romans 6. I speak, no, it wasn't that exact verse, but it also said, let me go into Romans 6 one more time for those that missed it. Romans 6. Actually, let's go. Now, notice that this word here is anomia, right? Let me go back and put it in Matthew 6, and we'll finish up Proverbs 10. I kind of wanted this to be, so iniquity is without law, right? Romans backs this. Paul backs this, right? For all the Paul lovers out there that use Paul to say that the law is done away with, again, Romans 6. Go down again. What then? Shall we sin because we are not under law, but under grace? God forbid. Actually, it was Romans 2. I'm sorry, but I wanted to throw that in there. Because actually, let's go back. Let me see here. Was it in here? No, it was Romans 2 that I went into. Sorry about that. Romans 2. This is where I was bringing up that, Paul was referring to the Mosaic law as well. When you go down here, verse 12. For as many have sinned without law, G460, without law, find it very fascinating. Anomos, right? Why does it say this here? And it's used only 2 times, without law. Why is it to sin in ignorance of the Mosaic law? I found that very, very fascinating. And it also mean lawlessly. Then when you go into the very next verse, or the very next word for law, because as you see, both 460, Greek 460, and Greek 3551 refer to the Mosaic law. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law, 460. And as many have sinned in the law, again, 3551. Nomos. What does it say down here? Anything established, anything received by usage, a custom, a law, a command of any law, that means any law whatsoever, a law or rule producing a state approved by God or of God, by the observance of which is approved of God, a precept or injunction, a rule of action prescribed by reason. Remember, this word is used 197 times only in these contexts, and we'll go down and show it. B, of the Mosaic law, referring account to the context, either to the volume of the law or to its contents. But many say that this is the only one it's referring to. But let's look down here again. Show all. Of any law whatsoever, Romans 3:27, Romans 9:31. But let's go to this one that says, of the Mosaic law. I find it very funny that Christ mentioned it when he said the word, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle so in no wise pass from the law. And here we are in Romans. Where is it? Romans 2, where I'm reading from. That's, Romans 2:15. Romans 4, Romans 7, Romans 8, Romans 2:13. For the hearers of the law are not, for not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers shall be justified. But people say you're not justified by doing the things that God told us to do. Why is that? Why is Paul saying it? Right? Of the Mosaic law, when he said, for not the hearers are just, but the doers. That's in Romans 2. I don't know why. Oh, here it is. Right here. Going back. As you see here, Greek 35:51. As many have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. 35:51. For not the hearers of the law, 35:51, are just before God, but the doers of the law, 35:51, shall be justified. Why is this tied back to the Mosaic law? Just a question I have for those that keep teaching don't have to fall anymore. Now, not saying that you go out and sacrifice animals, but just find that very fascinating. So I'm going to be going through that in Romans stuff. Now, getting back to where I was. And the way of the Lord is strength to destruction be the workers, and that's why Christ is going to tell him. And we get this other version, and it's going to be clear cut. Let's go to Proverb, or actually, let's go here. Right. We could go in any version. This is going to make it a little bit easier. So let's go into one I see everyone using a lot. The ESV. Make it very clear there. Then will I declare unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. But that's just, iniquity. Because when you go into the King James, it says iniquity there. But anyway, the righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not inhabit the earth. We understand that, he says that the righteous will inherit the earth, right? The mouth of the just bringeth forth wisdom, but the froward tongue shall be cut out. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh forwardness. Now, with that said, I'm going to end this, and I'm about to go and make me something to eat. Probably eat me some fruit today, because I need some fruit. They all missed that footnote. They all missed that one. Or are they just intentionally not going into it? I mean, it's hard for me to tell. But, that's why I brought this out. Because I'm all about the truth. I want to know the truth. And I'm pretty sure, that he knows that's what that says there. That's why that one time when I was on that channel, I had brought that up, Romans 2. But, it is what it is, They can have their own understanding, but I'm going to get the understanding from what I read in scripture. But with that said, I'm going to get these other lives set up so that we get some more edification and some more understanding of what these last days are going to look like. Because right now we are in that apostate generation. So I'm about to go get me something to eat. Shalom, and I hope everybody has a blessed day for those that were in here and that joined, and for those that will be watching afterwards. Shalom.